Hi, I'm Don.
Hi, I'm Jerry.
And I'm Tone.
And this is Ah My Guys, the most sincere and wholesome podcast where we only talk about the important stuff. Do you think looking at penis gives you gonorrhea?
It could, if it's bad enough. The hard topics, the topics that you may want to hear about, and the topics that you'd love to hear about.
I'm like, sure, you can touch me only if I got BK in a movie.
We're sincere, wholesome, and apologetic. I went to the hospital. I thought I got a hernia. It was blue balls.
And if this is the kind of wholesome content you've been looking for, you can catch us over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you guys catch your podcasts. New episodes every Monday.
Yeah, you can also do whatever you want. And what you should do is listen to our podcast.
Well, that's not doing whatever they want.
Yeah, but they'll want to.
They will want to.
Oh.
Get it? Got it? Good. Listen.
Good, great, grand, wonderful.
Hooked on you, baby, you're golden. Time moves, I never noticed. Just can't get enough. Got me wonderstruck.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Make Me a Nerd. I'm Mandy Kaplan, a mainstream mom whose mission it is to explore the world of nerd culture, one entity at a time, that I've been missing out on my whole life, especially Jurassic Park. I am an old-ass lady who has never seen Jurassic Park until now. And my esteemed, very handsome guests are all going to walk me through it because they are all lovers of Jurassic Park, as is most of the world. Here today, folks, it's a first. It's a four-fer. I've got the peerless Pete Wright.
Dino terrific.
I've got Andy Nelson back.
Back for more dinos, yes, indeed.
But he tried to avoid it, but I got him back. Because no one can say no to Jurassic Park. And now probably my most frequent guest, one of my bestest friends in the whole world, Tommy Metz III.
Dino terrific. Damn it. Pete already said that.
Oh, Tommy, you asked me to call on you first and I didn't. That's on me. So, gents, thank you for being here. Thank you for being so nerdy about Jurassic Park. I cannot believe I hadn't seen it until now. We're talking about the original, not Jurassic Ass, the Reborf, or whatever it's. I'm not doing it. So let me just ask you what your memories are of the first time you saw this movie, Tommy Metz.
Well, I can even go back one step earlier. The first time that I read the book, I remember where I was. I was in my my late grandparents' Jacksonville, Florida mansion upstairs at night reading it, and I couldn't go to sleep, A, because I was so scared, and B, because each chapter really ends on a well-crafted cliffhanger. So I pretty much read the entire book in one night, and then probably had terrible nightmares because it's gripping and scary, and it's a lot of running around in the dark. And so my expectations for this were sky high. When Spielberg was attached to it, I was like, it's the perfect choice for it. And this movie absolutely blew me away. And the series has just gotten better and better and better.
Andy, what was your first memory of Jurassic Park?
I have not read the book. It's one of those holes in my reading library that I probably
Tommy
should
is
fill at some
winning
point.
so far. Go
I
ahead.
know. But I was very excited to see the movie when I heard about it, when I learned about it. I've been a dinosaur lover since I was a young kid and wanted to be an archaeologist. Like, that was my first career pick, was archaeology, cool. And I wanted to dig up dinosaurs. And that fell by the wayside, but my love for dinosaurs never really did. And so just seeing the dinosaurs on the screen was a thrill. I got tickets for me and my little brother for the midnight screening opening night, and we went to that. And it was his first experience at doing something like that. And his mother was very upset with me because it gave him a lot of nightmares afterward, because he was just a junior high kid, and so a lot of nightmares, but he loved it. He walked out loving it, so I still counted it as a win, even if she didn't. But yeah, it's a very fun movie.
Great. And Pete, your first memories?
Well, okay, I will I'll agree with Tom. I remember where I was when I read the book. This was back in the era when my dad was just churning through pulp airport novels, and I was at an age where I was just starting to like read a bunch of these books seriously, and he just started throwing them at me and got me into Michael Crichton. And I think this one was the first one that I read of Crichton's, and it just really stuck with me. I've read it a couple of times over the years, and so when the movie came out, I don't so much remember. I know we saw it on opening night, when opening night was a real legit thing. Like, we were excited to be there opening night, and I just remember feeling the same sense of awe that Sadler and Grant feel when they stand up from the Jeeps. Like, I felt like my life and the world was transformed by what I was looking at on screen. It was extraordinary and magical, and I mean, it's an incredible feat what they pulled off.
And how many times do you think each of you has seen the movie? And did you have to rewatch it for today, or do you know it so well that you didn't have to?
No, I 100% rewatched it for today, not because I had to, but I wanted to. I wanted to
chose to.
Yeah, I bathed in it. Yeah.
Tommy couldn't because he gave me his DVD.
I bought some more.
I watched it. I watched it on the Vision Pro on the headset on the 70 millimeter. I was in the front row of watching this movie again, and it makes me feel exactly like I was that day. It really does.
So you guys have seen it a dozen times.
Dozens and
lots of times.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
probably like 8 or 9
count.
times, I would think.
Okay, now, in an unrelated note, Pete is like Passover Pete. He is reclined today. None of you are Jewish, but Pete is just in a different position, in a different place than I've ever seen him for a podcast, and I'm glad he is feeling so relaxed about this.
I'm very
That's
chill
nice.
when I'm a guest on someone else's show.
Yeah,
Very
this is
chill.
summer Pete.
It's a summer Pete.
Okay.
You're lucky I have a shirt on.
Or unlucky. I don't know. Okay, so back to Jurassic Park, but still on a side note, Tommy and I had the very joyful experience of doing a trivia night at a bar last week, and there happened to be a whole section on Jurassic Park.
Fun.
Right? Which I was like, I don't know anything. So then the first Chiron that's like Isla Nublar, I was like, oh, Tommy knew that for our trivia night. I was so happy. So he's a ringer if you guys ever need Jurassic Park trivia.
Just dino themed trivia.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Okay, and then I know the kid in the very beginning of the movie. He's a voiceover actor that I used to hang with. Yeah.
You're talking about Whit?
Whit, yeah.
You know Whit? That's outstanding.
So I was, but I don't know him as a child actor.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, oh, that kid's so familiar. What show is he on? I know that face. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, no, I know that face. So that was
fun.
And Jurassic Park has never come up between you? That's astonishing.
Oh, I mean, we are colleagues, and no, I would never, having never seen the movie, I certainly wouldn't have said, hey, were you in any Jurassic Park movies by any chance?
What I'm saying
my
is,
opening line.
if I were Whit, I would lead with that in every conversation with every new person. Right. Remember me in Jurassic Park? I was the adult in a kid's body.
Yes.
My reaction every time I see him, I'm like, hey, it's the Dream Child. That's like where my brain goes.
What's Dream Child?
Awesome. That's Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5. He is the Dream Child.
Oh, he was like a lead in it?
He's the kid. I mean, he's the titular Dream Child. I don't know if he's not really the lead, but he's prominent.
Right. I would not call him the lead.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So one thing I really appreciated about this movie is when I started to feel a little like, come on, dinosaurs, how is this possible? Who would ever believe this? they threw that animated explainer at us at the perfect time. And I gotta say, guys, it felt like they explained it in a real scientifically possible way. And I was so appreciative of that.
Dino DNA.
Right.
Dinosaur.
With the mosquito and the amber. I mean, I really I thought that, I said it was a Schoolhouse Rocky video.
Totally.
But it just I don't know. That's the accessible way in that I needed, so that it wasn't all science-y and far-fetched. It was like, okay, now I'm buying into this whole premise.
Well,
And we don't need to spend time on the rest of the series, but that's where the series has lost the face of its father, because it really got into more and more crazy science stuff. And then we started creating dinosaurs matching with other dinosaurs, and it just got dumber and dumber and dumber. The original conceit is not bulletproof, but it's great. I can also believe it. Yeah.
Right.
well, that's the gift of Michael Crichton, though, right? Like, he is able to make feel grounded, speculative, magical science, right? And so while the reality is, no, we're not really very close to, doing exactly what they did in the movies. It's not impossible, and they're already doing it in, with DNA strands that are not quite so old. Like, apparently DNA has a half-life of about 521 years. So, you get lucky on the long end of that, but we're not to the point where we're finding dinosaurs embedded in dinosaur DNA and amber. But is it technically feasible? Technically, it is feasible. It has never been done, but there are people trying. That's
Are
extraordinary.
there really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like real science-y people?
Yes.
Even
Wow.
not like Peter Jackson is spending a lot of his time and money right now trying to bring back I guess there's a native bird from New Zealand called the moa bird that is gone extinct, and he's trying to bring it back.
Yeah.
Similar methods. So
That's why he wasn't available for this episode.
Which he's very busy.
I tried.
Which is one of the reasons that the book and movie are so fun, because if you don't know that, it's still kind of grounded. If you do know that, it kind of changes your interpretation of the film. Like, it starts to feel more sort of grounded in our reality, which I think is really cool.
And I do think Spielberg was the perfect choice. The majesty, when we first see the dinosaurs, I wrote, I have chills. This is masterful filmmaking. I don't care about dinosaurs. And I frankly didn't care about the characters when they met the first dinosaurs, but I had chills head to toe. And
yes.
And that's, this was, you'll explain it to me, one of the first CGI things, or am I just making that up? But
first
little
CGI
bit.
was young Sherlock Holmes, but this
I
was a huge
love that
step
movie.
forward.
Let's talk about that movie.
This was an enormous step forward,
Right.
in ability and matching the mix of practical dinosaurs with CGI to make the world really come alive. I think.
Yes.
Is that right, Andy, Pete? Okay.
Yeah. This was all supposed to be done practically. Like, originally they were making the movie and it was all going to be practical dinosaurs. And they had, the giant pieces of the dinosaurs and the T-Rex head and the Brontosaurus heads. They had all the necks and things. And they were stunning creations of robotic stuff. And then one day, Stan Winston was behind, I think, the practical stuff. Was it Tippett, or was Tippett the practical and Winston was the digital? Anyway, the other one came down and said, look, can I just show you this thing that I'm playing with? And it was the T-Rex running on a black kind of mesh computery background.
Yeah.
And it was alarmingly good. The way it looked, felt. They'd never done digital creatures that you couldn't see the polygons.
Right.
And this one was so beautifully textured and looked just like the real head. So they could swap in digital and practical. And so this movie literally changed the way they make Hollywood films, right? I mean, it changed Hollywood again. Steven Spielberg did.
In my mind, in that moment when the special effects guy says, "Can I just show you guys this?" I'm imagining all the employees start to wander over and they they're amazed, right? Agape. And then the music swells because John Williams is next door working on part of the composition.
Yeah, but they call him Johnny. Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like a real turning point in Hollywood history.
Really?
Not now. Sir, you're going to want to see this. Someone holding it.
Yes, of course.
Now.
Yeah.
Before you go home.
That is such a patented Spielberg move that so many people have bitten off of. And I'm sure he's bitten it off someone earlier. But the idea of a character as the music is swelling, looking at something off camera, and then the reveal rising up with them dirtying the frame a little bit, and then it becomes clean. He's done that countless times, and it works every single time.
Every time.
It's just absolute cinematic language to make that work.
You throw John Williams' score in over that. And I mean,
forget about
John
it.
Williams knows how to. This is why the latest Superman movie couldn't succeed if they didn't throw in John Williams again, because his music is iconic as Superman, right? And just like that, like his music here is iconic as these dinosaurs. It's majestic, it's big, and it fits so well in this world. Like you really, it feels weird to have a Jurassic Park story where John Williams isn't a part of it, because it's so tied into the DNA, if I can say.
But then there's also, I said this, I just watched Godzilla -1 for the podcast. And
I haven't seen
extraordinary.
It's a great movie, but you have to trust the quiet as well.
Yeah.
And this is what Jaws does so well, and what Godzilla -1 and what this movie does. And that's John Williams knowing, let's just have nothing in this moment, pure silence, or let's have something really small and eerie in this moment. It's not, I'm again trashing on Jurassic World Rebirth, but you don't need pounding music throughout every scene to make a movie exciting.
Well,
because it becomes numbing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And look at the choice of doing the entire T-Rex attack at the paddock with no music at all, right? I mean, it's stunning, and it lets every little nuance, every foley, every move, every blow of the leaves really shine. Which is an interesting choice. I don't know that I can't imagine what it would take to make a choice like that today, where it's just like propulsive, put music behind everything, because we don't trust that you're going to feel what we need you to feel.
And that's, I mean, Spielberg is so smart with how he tells stories. He understands the language of cinema. And I mean, a lot of people bash on composers who, tell you how to feel, quote, but and John Williams is the sort of who is writing that big emotional sort of music that theoretically you could say it's telling me how to feel. But I never feel like it is, because it's like Spielberg knows how to build the emotions within the scene, so they're already there. So Williams is just, expanding on something that's already there. And so Spielberg is just incredibly smart as to how he layers those different elements into the film.
He's not listening. We don't have to kiss his ass quite so much.
That is a good point, though, because
Sorry,
that's what
I take it all back.
What makes it feel manipulative is if the directing or the visuals aren't matching what the score is insisting is happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
But
Exactly.
he knows when to bring it. Yeah, that's a great point. I like that.
Well, and I also think, very briefly, when I teach voiceover, I talk about the difference in mediums. And if there's a visual component, I'm not hitting the voiceover as hard, because if I'm describing something that you're seeing, and I'm talking about a spicy, crunchy taco, and you're seeing it, it's nauseating, it's off-putting, it's too much. We're seeing it. Calm down, right? And it's always a balancing act. And that's what Spielberg does so well, and what this movie does so well. Sometimes you are taken by the Foley and the sound and the music and whatever. And then sometimes you're just watching a piece of Jell-O quiver. And it's
so good.
Mesmerizing, and there's nothing else to it's just, that's it. And that could have been creepy music building and swelling and too much, but it's all the elements getting their chance to shine, I feel.
Yeah.
And you brought up Jaws. Steven Spielberg has gone on the record of saying that the movie that most influenced him making this was King Kong. And that's why it has like the big King Kong gates in the beginning. I think the movie that most influenced this movie was Jaws, his own movie. The lessons he had to learn when Bruce the shark refused to work. And so you had to do so much groundwork putting you in the world of the monster before ever showing the monster. This movie, I mean, we see some eyes and stuff, but like the goat attack, all of that, there's so much time spent before you really see at least the monster, the scary monster. And then the other thing is that what a lot of the other movies, we're just going to keep bringing up the other movies, are missing is that sense of awe. That the characters within this movie are as impressed as we are. And this is why I like the kids in this movie, and I almost never like the kids in the other ones, is the kids are already over it in the other ones. This one, like Tim loves dinosaurs and is seeing a father figure-ish kind of thing. Like he's in love with Sam Neill because Sam Neill knows dinosaurs. Everyone is like impressed with each other, impressed with the world, even when they start to realize that they don't have control over it at all.
Right.
It's just infectious to go along with that instead of these like Marvel-esque kind of snappy put downs or you call that a dinosaur or whatever. Like everyone is really seeing it for the first time. And that's exciting.
Yeah, you have to have characters take something in and either be afraid of it or in awe of it or question, is that real? What am I seeing? Or it's wholly unbelievable for the audience. Right. Because we wouldn't stumble upon any part of a dinosaur and be like, oh, yeah, that's probably a living, breathing dinosaur. Moving on. You know, here's, although Goldblum is pretty quippy.
Yeah. But he's also really smart. And I think he's really funny. Like he plays sort of the incorrigible bad boy that works for me. And he's right. He has proved right about every single thing that he says.
Yeah.
To just go in the idea of seeing, and then I'll stop talking so much, but seeing something and reacting, seeing your male lead almost faint when he hears that they've made a T-Rex. That shows neat vulnerability. You're going on this emotional ride with them. And that's just what's missing so much. So it's really exciting.
While you bring up the male lead, so 4 minutes in, I said to myself, is Sam Neill attempting an American accent? Or what are we dealing with here? So I Googled, is Sam Neill doing an American accent? And the answer I got was, apparently it was supposed to be fluid and in between any accent. And I'm doing air quotes in case anybody can't hear those. I find that to be a strange direction.
Well, if that's the goal, he pulled it off.
Right?
That sounds like a choice made later.
Right?
Once they watched the dailies, they were like, so we're going fluid? Okay, we're going fluid with you.
Right. Right. There's a movie I adore called Drop Dead Gorgeous with Kirsten Dunst and Denise Richards is in that movie. And she did an interview in which she said, well, they told me they didn't want me to have the accent that everybody else had. And I thought, yeah, sure, Denise Richards. That's what they told you.
That's what they told you.
It was so clearly spin that she couldn't do the accent. And they said, stop trying to do the accent. You can't do it. Just stop. But I'm not trying to criticize this perfect movie, but why didn't Sam Neill have his natural accent? Or does anybody know? Does anybody care? I'm just obsessed with accents.
I think they wanted.
I've never thought about it, honestly.
I've never really thought about it either. I would think that they'd want him to be a little bit more Indiana Jones-ish.
Well, I did question his accent. He's exceedingly handsome and vulnerable and wonderful, but I was put off by his vague, nondescript accent.
I've ever noticed it.
Yeah, I haven't either. I've just always kind of. I don't know. I guess it just seemed like Sam Neill, and so I just never really thought about it. And I think this may have been. Was this the first movie I saw with Sam Neill?
Dead Calm.
Dead Calm.
I'm trying to remember if I saw Dead Calm first or this first. Because Dead Calm was what? That was about 90.
I would think.
I probably saw Dead Calm first then.
Yeah.
But not much. Like I hadn't seen much of his previous films. I missed Omen 3 beforehand.
Oh, Andy, shame on you.
I know. Oh, Hunt for Red October, but then he was kind of like his pretend Russian accent, or not really. So, yeah.
We're calling out Sam Neill today, I think, on his accent work. So I don't have time codes. For some reason, my DVD player, when I would pause to take a note, it didn't give me a time code. But I wrote there is so much setup before it gets tense and scary, which is how I view Jaws. Although Jaws gives you more blips of something terrifying happening to somebody, but it's not our lead characters in their running in the dark moments, as Tommy likes to say. I feel like I don't think that's allowed today, to have a movie develop character and story and build up without shit blowing up and things happening. Do you think if this were being made today, it would still allow for all of that build up?
You mean you didn't get that feeling from Jurassic Park Rebirth?
I did not, Pete.
They literally just made this movie today, and it did not allow for any this kind of pacing. Asked and answered. Well, I love what it does, because it allows it gives us a chance to watch the characters be bored, and that's a kind of slowdown that we as an audience take on, and it's perfect because it just makes us all the more, fodder for the excitement to come. Like, it makes that emotional roller coaster, those hills and peaks and valleys, that much steeper.
I mean, I think you're right. I think there is an element to franchise movies where they really want to make sure that you're getting doses of things, throughout. Like, I mean, but I mean, that holds true even going back into the 80s with, certain producers who required, there's got to be an action beat every 10 minutes. We got to have another action scene. And so it's not new to the Hollywood industry. I think it's just, and even today you can find movies that I think allow for more time. Like Sinners is a great example from this year. It's not a franchise film, but it's a great example that allows for a long buildup of the story and getting to know the characters and the world and everything before everything goes crazy. And so it's definitely doable. It's definitely doable. But yeah, I just think that in the world of franchises, I think that the studios are wary.
I think it is found still very much in one genre, and this genre, because I think people think of this movie as an adventure movie. I think of this movie as a horror movie, and it follows a horror structure like Sinners, where it gives you a scare up top with the shooter. It gives you that in the cold open, which is then supposed to buy you time to meet everybody, hang out with everybody, create the world, and then you're set up. So if you agree that it's a horror movie, I think horror movies are still using that exact setup to this day.
Yeah.
Not as much time, but yeah.
Well, and we should say the book is paced the same way, right? The book is paced with a scare up front and then long, hard science for a while. And then we get into some stuff. Violence, like deep gore.
So long, hard science, they didn't have a ton of it, thankfully. It did not get bogged down in the how of it all. But it did lose me. I couldn't quite figure out what Wayne Knight's mission was. And, the other company that wanted to steal the DNA or something.
Correct. It was a rival company. It's named in the lore. I think it's like Biosyn, but it's not.
And later movies.
In later movies. So Biosyn is a competitor of InGen, which is the company that's making it. So yes, he's supposed to steal some of those so they can reverse engineer it or dino DNA it or whatever. That's the idea of like tons of years of development can fit in a shaving cream can.
Okay. Wayne Knight has his encounter with a dinosaur, which I thought of, Tommy, because it was somewhat of a baby dinosaur, maybe a teen dinosaur, right?
It's actually a full-grown dinosaur, but it's
it is full-grown Dilophosaurus.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
And what kind is it?
Yeah.
Right.
Dilophosaurus, yeah.
Dilophosaurus. So my friend in college would run around and put his hands on his face and make little whimpering noises and then go and expand his hands on the side of his face. And everyone thought this was hilarious. And I had no idea what it was. And here we are 30 years later, and I was watching it. And when the dinosaur went, I was like, Seth from college, I get it. And I texted him, I'm finally watching Jurassic Park.
Wow.
Now I get why you were the life of the party with that impression. But
that turned out to be a real way homer.
Worth it. I gotta tell you guys, worth it.
So funny.
Yeah, it really is such a cultural gap for me. This is the one. There's so many movies that I'm like, oh, I'm not into it, or oh, I haven't seen it. Oh, I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, whatever. When I say, no, I've never seen Jurassic Park, that's the one that everyone gets mad at me about it. So
Yeah.
hopefully I'm righting a lifetime of wrongs today. They're driving through and things start to break bad. And they get out of the car. Why do they get out of the car? Don't they feel, wouldn't anybody feel safer in the car?
Well, this is after a prolonged period of they haven't seen anything scary.
Yeah.
And then they see the sick, Stegosaurus?
Oh, no, I
It's a
think I'm past that.
Triceratops.
Triceratops. You're past
I think
that.
I'm past that.
This
I
is when
think
everything
I'm
breaks down
saying-
after Wayne Knight
Yeah,
destroys the electricity in the park,
Right.
or shuts things
Yeah, yeah.
down. And
Oh,
they're
I
stuck
see.
outside the T-Rex pen.
yes.
Yeah.
And they get out of the car.
Well, but I mean, theoretically, everything should be behind its pen, right? And
It's electrified pen.
Yeah, and
Okay.
nothing. It's like a zoo. It's like you're in a contained area for humans where there won't be any animals, and so theoretically they're safe. It's just, So I mean, weirdly, there's a bathroom stop right there too. Like, I don't
Yes.
know if they were intending to normally have cars stop here anyway for bathroom breaks, but it
That's a
is
good
there.
point. Yeah.
So
And how angry is that actor that he didn't make it to a sequel?
The lawyer?
The lawyer
No.
guy?
Gennaro,
Like a
you know
lawyer?
what's really interesting about his character is that he's a hero in the book and survives. He actually joins
Really?
in on the final kind of raptor hunt. Yeah,
Wow.
he makes it, and they just, I mean, they made one of the most iconic deaths in the movie
Mhm.
out of this character who was otherwise a hero.
Huh.
That's funny. It makes more sense that he's not a hero.
Yeah.
Well, it's when he abandons the
a
kids and they were
caricature.
so
He wasn't a
traumatized.
caricature of cowardly lawyers in the
Right.
book, right? Like that wasn't who he was. It made sense. But this, they made him they lampooned him from the beginning, wearing the kind of shirt with the tie and the shorts. Come on, man.
It's like a suit with shorts.
Yeah,
It's odd.
that's not
strange,
cool.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes sense that you'd have to give the audience some people to feel okay about being eaten.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
Wayne
Yeah.
Knight's out of the
Right.
picture and everyone else is either a hero or a kid.
right.
And so you need some fun.
a few more.
Although I
people
would have
will-
voted for Timmy, and here's why. Timmy looks like Charlie Bucket, and I'm very anti Roald Dahl
wow.
and Willy Wonka and Charlie Bucket. Doesn't he look just like Charlie Bucket?
I don't know, because I've seen him in so many other, like Radio Flyer, and I've seen him in
Yeah.
a lot of movies when he was that age. So I'm a
Oh.
fan of the actor.
Oh.
So wait, you're mad that he looks like another fictional character in a book written by someone else that you don't like?
Yes. Yes. Were those dots not connecting for you? Yeah. So I wanted the kid to die because he looked like Charlie Bucket.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
I'm
that is
sure that's
funny.
what they wanted you to feel. I think
Yeah.
that was
Yes.
architected.
Also,
You-
look, I know this isn't based on a true story, but I bought everything about this movie except this thing really. They have a buffet in front of them. They choose cauliflower and cantaloupe and Jell-O. No, that's not going to fly. That's, you guys, this is not based on a true story. That's the moment I knew. I figured
you're
you
onto
out.
them. You're onto
Yeah,
them.
Right?
right.
What is your favorite dinosaur? What is the one, if you had to choose one? Because they're very distinct in this movie. They not so much in the bag of crap we watched a couple weeks ago. But in this one, they all have their own personalities, looks, So what would you choose?
For me, I think it's a tie between raptors because they're clever girls and the T-Rex, which was my favorite part in the Bag of Crab movie that we saw together. I just love, that's why I'm infuriated by the idea of needing to create new dinosaurs. That this is a universe where they say that people immediately got bored with T-Rexes. That's impossible. I would
Right.
watch Sleepy T-Rex roll around all day. So, and the T-Rex chase with the must go faster. I wonder if that'll be on the ride. All of that is thrilling. And there's callbacks. I don't know if you remember, Mandy, but there's in the very beginning of Rebirth, there's a shot of the things in the mirrors are closer than they appear. That's a visual reference to the chase.
I remember it in this movie, but I don't remember it in the.
It was just like a throwaway for super fans.
They've done it in a few of the movies. Yeah,
that's like a recurring thing that they reference every once in a while.
Oh, okay. I did get the flares though. I got that.
Yep.
In this one. Yeah.
Yeah. At the end, when the T-Rex is screaming and the poster when dinosaurs rolled the earth is just it's my favorite moment in the movie. It's so smart and iconic and laid out that I think T-Rex is my favorite.
In this movie, T-Rex is my favorite.
Nope. T-Rex has already been taken.
Yeah.
We can't share
No,
dinosaurs.
I'm just kidding.
I see. But the Ankylosaurus is my favorite dinosaur, period. And we start seeing them in the third movie, and then they've been in every movie since the third. So that's my favorite of the dinosaurs. But yeah, I mean, if I can't pick the T-Rex,
no, you can. You can.
Okay. Well, I'd probably then say the Triceratops. Although there's another one similar to the Triceratops that has 7 horns instead of the 3 that was actually another of my favorite dinosaurs that I don't think they've used.
Oh, that's right, because you're such a horn freak.
Pete, what's your favorite?
Oh, I probably because the other ones have been taken. I'll actually say the Velociraptor. Because it's the object of horror in this movie. If it's a horror movie, that's the one that it's not big, dumb, and lumbering like the Tyrannosaurus Rex that just clearly has to stumble on stuff and fall on its prey. It hunts, right? It just like that whole speech where where he's talking about he's looking at it and it comes from the attack comes from the side because they're pack hunters is a legitimately threatening speech and hanging a flag on something that we know we're going to see and just can't wait to see it. So I think it's used so effectively as a weapon of terror in this movie that I have to vote Velociraptor.
Okay. And I can't pick between the dinosaurs, but the scariest moments for me were the car moments when the car drops down and just misses them. I leapt out of my proverbial seat, and then when it crashes on top of them, but they're safely ensconced in the roof.
Yeah.
So it's like the car was more scary to me than the dinosaurs. I'm sure that was not what they wanted.
That's an amazing sequence, and it has my favorite laugh line of the movie, which is Tim going, "Well, we're back in the car again." No, but that is such an ingenious way of being chased by a car. Instead of being chased by a car like this, that it's vertical coming down on you, and you're just trying to outrun gravity.
And it just comes so close. Oof. Yeah, that was
and it's in a movie about dinosaurs and people running from dinosaurs. It also is valuable to include scenes like that where we're actually not running from a dinosaur for a moment. It's something else that they're potentially going to die from.
Anything can kill you. It's like going to Phoenix,
heights
or Tampa.
and dark, and
it's like weaponizing the things that were supposed to keep you safe. Yeah.
Have any of you done the ride at Universal? I'm sure Tommy has.
Would it surprise you to know that I did it yesterday? I took my friend Matt Simmons, who's visiting for work, and we went to Universal Studios yesterday.
Have you guys done the ride? I want to know what it is, but no.
It's been so many years that I'd be ineffective at telling you what I remember. Cylons from my trip to Universal Studios. So if that's how long it's been,
that was even before mine. Yeah, I did it in probably the late 90s. Is the last time I did it, so it's been a very long time.
Okay, so Tommy, what is the ride like?
It's a water ride. It's the basic Universal ride setup where it's like, hey, you're on a ride and isn't that fun? And don't go that way. Oh no! And then you're on an adventure, and they changed it. It's still based on the Chris Pratt movies. And so the Indominus Rex, a man-made dinosaur, has escaped and is trying to find you. And then there's T-Rexes and everyone's escaped. And then you go down. The big money is you go down a huge log flume.
Yeah.
And you get all wet.
Are the dinosaurs scary? Like, is it legit thrills or is it corny?
No, it's it goes back and forth. Some of I was saying there's a new computer animated part in the very beginning, which is kind of interesting. You know, there's screens and it lets them pretend that you're going through a huge aquarium with that gigantic, can't really make it fish monster. And then you turn the corner into the daylight, and there's like the original first dinosaur, like animatronic, and you're like, well, that just looks like shit now. You can't show me 2025 dinosaurs and then first dinosaur attempt. But then when you're in the dark and running around, it's pretty captivating, and they're enormous. Like the T-Rexes, there's a number of T-Rexes that are after you, and they are huge, legitimately huge, and real, which is cool.
I did love the shot. I think it's Goldblum is looking at a footprint, right? And there's like water that has filled the footprint. And it just gives you a sense of, you know, all it is a little, not little, it's just markings in the ground, but it's so massive. And it just gives you that sense of the threat, even though there's no dinosaur in sight. It's just, oh my God, look at what this is.
Well, I think that's the same. That's the same sense that you get from the cup of water on the dashboard,
the
impact ripples, which were notably hard to achieve the way Spielberg kind of imagined it, and they ended up with a bass guitar string strung under the dashboard and would pluck it, and that would give the perfect ripples in the water. They couldn't get any other way to do it. Like if you hit the dashboard, it would cause a wave. Nothing would come from the center until they figured out the vibration of a bass guitar string.
Smart.
It's really cool, just the levels to which they go to achieve just the right look for that terror. And it works. It makes a difference. You cannot tell where the threat is coming from because the water doesn't move one direction or the other. It comes from the center.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Are there other behind the scenes? I mean, I didn't do any reading because I wanted you guys to tell me your favorite fun facts. Obviously, we heard the story about the effects guy saying, hey, look at what I've done on the computer. But
there's one that's people smarter than me have come up with, that the idea of Ian Malcolm saying life finds a way, that when they are in the helicopter and Dr. Grant, who doesn't know how things work, has two female seatbelt parts and can't get them together, but then he ties them together.
Right.
That's life finding a way. That's female and female, but working together in order to, just like how the dinosaurs who were bred all female end up finding a way to have life.
Yeah, right.
I thought that was going to come into play like in a more practical way of watching him tie something when, you know, but you're right. It's more high level
than it's a metaphor. Yeah.
It's more high minded than I am. Andy, have you done a ton of behind the scenes research on it?
Not a ton, but there is a fun little fact that I always notice now, and it's when the daughter or the granddaughter, they're running with the kids, and the Velociraptors have figured out how to get in through the door, and they're trying to get up through the ceiling, and she's like the last one up, and the Velociraptor pops its head and breaks the tile, and she falls through, and she grabs on, her head comes swinging back, and we see her face. And Spielberg kept saying, don't or no, it was a stunt. It was the stunt performer was doing it, but the movement kept making her throw her head back. And so they actually had to figure out how to do a digital face replacement, which was one of the first times where they ended up doing that with a performer. So I always thought that was funny. Yeah, because it was too much movement on, and her head kept moving back.
That's crazy. Face that is trivia I did not know. The first face replacement.
Watch when it happens. Now that you see it, you can see that in Lex's face.
Yeah.
The kids were great, and I'm so hypercritical of bad kid actors, but they were great. I thought of just what it must have been like every day for them to come in, and it's like, okay, guys, how you feeling? Everybody good? Okay, and scream, and abject terror again all day. Go. But they really are both great actors.
And yet, the best line for her, to me, is when she walks up to Dr. Grant and says, "She says I should ride with you." she says it'll do you some good. And my heart grows 3 sizes too big when she says that line. It's just perfect delivery for me.
I wanted Laura Dern to do more. She doesn't get a ton in this one, but does she get to step it up in future films? Do women in general?
Well, okay. So I'm going to give you something that might make you see this movie as a step up. In the book, she's a 22-year-old grad student and has vastly less to do. And so it's one of those where they actually amped up the character and they gave her the whole run to the power system scene, which was, that's agency. They made her limp all over the place. I mean, there's more to do in here than women in many Michael Crichton books. So,
But Tommy was, I think, saying maybe the series doesn't give women enough.
Jurassic World, for instance, when they sort of rebooted it, they put Bryce Dallas Howard in high heels for the entire movie, and everyone bagged on that. It's not great. But I mean, Laura Dern is the best, I think, of them.
Yeah.
Until maybe Scarlett Johansson with being kind of a badass, I guess.
Kick-ass, yeah.
Yeah.
I jokingly put, why does at the very end in the helicopter, they're safe. Laura Dern looks like she's about to go shoot a Neutrogena spot. She has not an ounce of dirt. Her hair is perfect. It's a little frustrating when everybody else is covered in bruises and mud and,
And if you go back to when they're loading, I actually had to go back because that struck me too. When you look at her loading the kids on the helicopter, she's covered in dirt, right? It just felt like continuity wasn't there when they went back to shoot inside the helicopter.
And they just wanted a beauty shot. They wanted her to look sun-dappled and lovely.
Yeah.
Maybe she wanted a beauty shot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that.
Dare you, sir?
Female actors
That's
sometimes
Laura fucking Dern you're talking about. You better watch it.
Okay, fair.
Well, it's interesting because in the film, she is a paleobotanist. And so her role is technically coming into the story different than Sam Neill's character, because she studies the vegetation. And this is the only movie where it's ever brought up. And she's looking at like this is a leaf from a plant that's been extinct for millions of years, whatever. That's the only time it's ever been brought up in the entire franchise, that they've also been doing genetics with
plants,
growing plants. But apparently it's like they decided that there's not a lot you can do with that. Because it's like once they establish that with her, it's like then she's like, hey, I want to stay and figure out how this Triceratops got pregnant and help the mom with her baby. And so it's like they take her out of the role that they just created for her anyway, and they have her doing other things. So
plants aren't scary except for Little Shop of Horrors.
Or is it the ruins? The ruins.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah. But I know this. It's a 30-year-old movie, right? Am I roughly
93?
30-ish.
93. Okay. Yeah. So roughly 30 years, right? And I know gender roles were different, but it is a little frustrating that she ends up looking so beautiful and wispy at the end, that she doesn't really get to step up and be as heroic, and that the only her meatiest scene is her being nurturing and maternal and I'll take care of the dinosaur, leave me behind to mother this dinosaur. As a woman, I wanted a little more action from her.
Well,
but
I would say that for me, the scene that stands out is the confrontation. It's more the science confrontation with John Hammond about what he's doing here at the park, and that whole confrontation, that conversation that they have later about everything when they're sitting in the dining room or wherever, like that to me stands out as the moment that they gave her as kind of the standout, where it's like your big scene is going to be the attack on everything that John Hammond is doing here and looking at the reality of why it's actually not working.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the heart and the mind of a lot of the movie when she says there are plants around this building that are poisonous. You pick them because they look good. That you don't know what you've done. Ian Malcolm gets the big line, which is they were so busy trying to figure out if they could, they didn't think if they should. But she brings actual humanity to that by saying, I didn't respect it. We thought there was control and I didn't respect it enough, and it got out and people are dying. Reminding Mr. Hammond, who's talking about a dumb flea circus, that his grandchildren are running around in this park, this death trap that he created. And I think that she's the one that turns him completely. I think without that speech, he would still want to fix the park.
But he's not evil, which I like.
No.
That's another twist from the book too.
Oh, in the book, is he evil?
He's exactly who you would expect, right? Like he is a billionaire industrialist.
Elon Musk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably not so dumb, but
not so handsome.
But
oh my, Pete, you can cut Tommy giving any compliment to Elon Musk from my podcast. Thank you.
But he is, here he's reimagined as our kindly Walt Disney, right? But he's an arrogant capitalist, and he doesn't acknowledge failure until it's too late. And it's like, it's the tropiest of tropes. And he dies super ironically at the end of the book, like he's dead. And in the movie,
did he get trapped in amber?
He's eaten. That would be the most ironic. He's eaten by compies at the end of the book, which is another interesting thing. If you want to see mostly the whole book of dinosaurs, you also kind of have to watch the second movie, which includes scenes in the second movie that were cut but came directly from the first book. So,
wait, so they were shot for the first movie, but
no,
in the second?
They were not. They were completely excised in the adaptation of the first movie. They went back to the book to introduce other sequences that were made into the second film and third. Really, I mean, like in the book, you get all kinds of crazy dinosaurs. You get flying dinosaurs. You get little mouse-sized dinosaurs. You get all kinds of dinosaurs. And in the movie, they were kind of split up.
Well, I have to say, I am not a dinosaur person. Nothing about them. It's just not an interest for me, but I am a movie fan, and this movie is a solid movie. You could have replaced the dinosaurs with man-eating plants or birds or whatever, and I still would have been excited and scared and moved. So that's the beauty of a well-done horror/adventure. It doesn't matter who the bad guy is. You've just built up this beautiful tension, and it's a really fun, exciting movie. So
agreed.
Glad that you enjoyed it.
Imagine, yeah, me too. And imagine if you were a dinosaur nerd.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, let's do Jurassic Park, but with musical theater legends. So it's like Bernadette and Patti LuPone, something, and then I would
get loose.
They get loose,
and they're giant,
and they're belting.
I mean, I just think the feeling of seeing something on screen that I'd never seen before in my life, that I didn't imagine existed. And yet I walk out of Jurassic Park that first night and I think, okay, dinosaurs are real.
Right.
And I'd never felt that way about any creature that I'd seen on screen before.
Right. And there's no schlockiness or cheesiness. I'm sure there have been dinosaur movies in the past, but you can see the strings in the old ones, or it had
animation.
Yeah. And this felt so real and visceral. So it had the restraint of CGI wasn't all that CGI is now. CGI, to steal from Ian Malcolm, just because you can show whatever you want from a hawk's eye view doesn't mean you should. And that's what so many directors are getting wrong, that every time that you're not seeing an entire dinosaur, it's usually practical. And you can just tell. You can just tell that there's weight coming down on the kids when the T-Rex is coming in through the sunroof. Sorry. I'm just making all of these wild gesticulations and not explaining anything, but you can tell the weight. You can feel it. Yeah,
that the dinosaurs are really moving these huge trees around. That there's physicalness, and it's not put in later.
Well, and so much of that too was around the constraint of creating the visual effects, right? Like just because they can do a thing doesn't make it easy, right? Making this thing took hundreds and hundreds of hours of rendering time on computers that could not handle it. And, now it's easy relatively to make these things look good and churn them out for dailies. And
That's a problem.
The lack of constraint, I think, makes the effects, commoditizes the effects.
Well, it really is the same idea of just like these effects are poisonous. You pick them because they look good, but they're ruining your movie.
Yeah.
Well, they can also be about the CGI industry.
Well, that also speaks. I mean, Mandy, you were talking about how you just watched Godzilla -1, and that's another example of a film where you have a filmmaker who understands the language of effects and when to use what type of effects and how, and integrates the effects work fluidly throughout the production process, as opposed to so many of the movies that we have now. It's not that the effects are the problem, it's just that the people who are putting them together don't have the understanding of the language, and so that's why they're always redoing effects because it wasn't done right, or having to redo scenes or whatever, and so it's created a real problem. But when you have the filmmaker working with a production that they understand the language of effects, then you can deliver very effective, very fluid stories that feel real from start to finish.
And it's also, I don't know how many people worked on these dinosaurs. I'm sure dozens of people created them. 3, but now it gets shopped out all over the world. So there's like just, a department in the Philippines just cranking out that monster, and another department over here. And there's no clear vision. There's no person at the helm, like you said, who speaks the language of effects to guide. It's just so, I don't know, commercialized and industrialized at this point. It doesn't feel like an artistic vision. And one thing, and then I'm going to wrap this up, but Pete was mentioning the computers. Computers were even probably too slow to actually do this at the time. And it's so interesting. The computer graphics we see in this movie look so rudimentary, right? When it's like system locking, and it's just these like red and green things all over the screen. The actual computer screens that we see, right? It is so old timey and almost laughable by today's standards. So to think that's what computers looked like in 93, and that's the kind of computers that were making this spectacular vision come to life. It's just, did I just blow your mind, Tommy?
Yeah, no, I like that. It's like Sandra Bullock in The Net when she goes to pizza.com.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's a real moment. No, but you're right. I mean, that they're showing us this is a world where we can create dinosaurs out of amber and, have all of these like, even like robot hands taking things without eyes, taking shells out of his hands. And yet,
their computers look like Pong. They look old fashioned.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Oh, yeah.
Well, I want to make a correction to what I said earlier. I couldn't remember who was who on the visual effects, and it's really embarrassing that I didn't get the names right. Stan Winston and Dennis Muren. Dennis Muren was at ILM at the time, and Stan Winston Studios. They did the computer dinosaurs, and it was Phil Tippett who did the Go Motion dinosaurs. He did the puppets, and those 3 names are really legendary in the visual effects field and should be lauded and spoken of correctly. So
Stan Winston makes it into a lot of New York Times crossword puzzles, so I know him.
There you go.
Well.
Also famous for that.
Yes. Any final thoughts about what you love about this movie or why it's so dear to you? I don't want to rob you of a chance to kvel one more time.
Just one other thing, just as far as like, Spielberg really worked hard to make it a movie about dinosaurs that weren't just like fantastical creatures. Like he hired specialists and people who knew, like, really understood what dinosaurs would be like and studied dinosaurs, and scientists and everything, and designed all the creatures to be as realistic as possible based on what they had known. And I mean, over the course of the franchise, they've kind of continued evolving stuff over time. So like there's a dinosaur actually that's in the 3rd movie that gets brought back in Jurassic World Rebirth. Anyway,
Rebarf is what I call it.
Rebarf, yeah. But they took all of the scientific understanding of it since Jurassic Park 3, and they learned, oh, it's more of a water dinosaur. And so they actually have it in the water in the third one. So they kind of reshaped that dinosaur over the course of the story. And so I love that they are trying to make these things as realistic as possible, at least in this movie. Like, see some stupid stuff later, but I think that that's an important element that he integrated here, because he's just like, I want it to feel like, people are at a zoo where it's like you're looking at animals doing animal things. And I think that it really feels that way.
Yeah.
Are they going to kill the goat? Is it going to eat the goat?
Cool. This movie is so, rewatching it, I forget how funny it is and how clever a lot of the writing is. And dinosaur eats man, woman inherits the earth. There's so many fun, quotable, like clever girl you've seen touched on so many times, Mandy. Maybe you didn't know what it was from, but that's just, this movie is filled with so many touchstones and iconic things. And David Koepp wrote this movie. And David Koepp wrote Jurassic Park Rebirth.
Right.
And it's just like, it's fascinating.
David Koepp adapted this movie.
Yeah, that's the
David Koepp wrote Rebirth.
I see.
Good catch, Pete.
Well, hold on to your butts.
Guys, thank you. I'm going to tell everybody my business, and then you can tell everybody where they can hear more of you, because they should. Pete has a weapon. What's happening?
It's his Theragun.
It's my Theragun. It's always in arm's reach.
Oh,
He's
my
gonna
God.
do a whole Make Me a Nerd episode about that.
Well, I want a Shocktato episode of Make Me a Nerd.
I am down to clown.
Hey, everybody, Make Me a Nerd is a production of True Story FM, engineering by the peerless Pete Wright, who's right here, and I can compliment him to his face. Please, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review. Write a little note. Tell me what you think. It helps more people find the podcast. Our theme song is Wonderstruck by Jane and the Boy. And I'm on social media at Mandy_Kaplan_Clavens, both with K's on Instagram, and at Mandy Miscast on Blue Sky and TikTok. I'm officially cool. If you're feeling extra supportive, please go to makemeanerd.com/join. Hit that button, and that will $5 a month will get you your episodes ad-free and early. That's my business. Where can everybody hear more of you and your thoughts about films and anxieties? Tommy.
Yes. Here, I'll do Sitting in the Dark. If you are a fan of horror movies and like to have people talk about it and pretend to be smart, come over to Sitting in the Dark. Also here at truestory.fm. Pete is there, I'm there, and we have other guests. And each month we come up with a new topic where we end up sort of having a thesis of sorts about horror movies and the importance of them and what they mean about culture as a whole. And it's a lot of fun. Sitting in the Dark.
Andy.
Yeah, I'm also over at truestory.fm. It's a lot of shows over there that Pete and I are handling. I'm going to bring up CinemaScope is a show you can tune into if you're interested in learning, like doing deep dives on film genres, subgenres, or movements. Each episode we're digging in on one particular thing. So like found footage horror films, or screwball comedies, or the French New Wave. So I bring guests on and talk with them about it and different films in those, and it's a lot of fun. CinemaScope over at truestory.fm.
Excellent. Pete.
Okay.
Pick just 18 of your podcasts.
I have a new show, and it's called Headstone. And it is a show about human legacy and what we leave behind. And I interview people about their lives and the tiny actions that make up a well-lived life, and ask them what they want written on their headstones. So it's not necessarily about movies, but there may be movie people on deck. It's mostly about stories that we tell and the stories that we want to outlive us. And I love doing it, and I hope somebody comes and listens. It's really, really very brand new.
Well,
Headstone.
congratulations. And that's the beauty of True Story FM is it's not only films. There's
Right.
psychological podcasts and comedy podcasts and there's everything. So
One day there may be a parenting podcast, Mandy.
yes, yes, there might be. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, I adore you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Until next time.